Welcome back, guys. Harry here, known as Tradesharpe, and I think it's safe to say that we all hate drawdown. Drawdown is just generally uncomfortable because it's when we start to not really trust our trade. It's where it's not a position we want to be in. The idea of taking a trade is to have a probability to win, and we want that to be present. Otherwise, we start questioning if our trade was correct. Although drawdown is a part of trading, and sometimes you just have to trust in your strategy and trust in your skill that the probabilities on your side and the trade should play out. So although I take a trade and I don't mind sitting in drawdown, sometimes I do want to minimize it as much as possible. Now sometimes there's nothing I can do and the trade might go in drawdown, but at the end of the day I just trust my setup, trust the probabilities of me winning, and hopefully that should play out. But in this video I'm going to talk about how I minimize drawdown when taking my entries. With that being said, let's get straight into the video and I'm gonna catch you guys there. Alright guys, just a quick reminder, you know the YouTube business, hate to say it, but it's part of the game. If you do enjoy this video after you watch it, leave a like, or just leave a like now if you're a returning viewer. If you're already subscribed to the channel, so salute to you. Thank you for showing up for this video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, definitely consider it. We are live streaming. We have plenty of content that comes on here that is very useful. And also on top of that, if you want to join a free Discord community that's non-BS and ask your questions and keep updated and just be part of something that can help you along your journey, definitely consider joining the Discord below. It's full of resources, full of useful stuff for you to help. Drop me a follow on Instagram, dropping content there that can be useful and keeping you up to date with trades taken and what's going on during the week. So you can check out all the official links down below in the description. With that being said, let's get straight into the video and I'll flip you guys onto the chart and let's look how to minimize drawdown. Alright, so what is the key things to minimize drawdown? And number one is going to be time frames. What time frame you trade on is going to establish how little drawdown you trade, because you need to trade on an efficient time frame, a time frame that moves quick enough but at the same time is enough confirmation. Now, although you need all time frames in order to give you a trade that makes sense and your story has to be built on higher time frames, I do have multiple videos on how to do top-down analysis. Check out my support and resistance video. And it's very important to understand, if you don't know what's going on the higher time frame, you're more likely to get caught out on the lower time frame in inconsistent moves. So make sure you understand to do your analysis from the higher time frame and work your way down to the lower time frame. But then the question comes, what time frame are you going to enter on? Now, the best time frames in my opinion are 15, 30 and 1 hour. But out of those, for me, the best that works is the 15 minute. The reason why is that you have four 15 minute closures within an hour, so you have multiple chances to make decisions and get in and out a trade. You're not waiting half of an hour for a candle closure. And with higher time frames, the higher the time frames, the bigger the stop loss is going to be and the more chance that you're going to get caught out in pullbacks. But when you use the 15-minute time frame, you find that the 15-minute gives you a lot of information on intraday structure, right? Intraday movement, and we get a lot of clean moves. We get a lot of clean moves that we're able to catch from point to point without having to worry about waiting for a high time frame closure like this, and then you kind of miss the move, right? So it's a perfect time frame for me, and that's one thing I would concentrate on, is looking for entries on the 15 minute is ideal. Going on the 5 and going on the 1 minute, although can help your entries and reduce drawdown, this is a big tip I use, is using the 5 minute once the 15 minute has closed in order to help reduce drawdown. But this is situational dependent. One great situation is the thunderstorm setup. Check out the thunderstorm video. That is how we can utilize the 5 minute to our advantage. But the key thing is that you have the 15-minute closure, which is your confirmation. If you're trading on the 5 minute and 1 minute, it's not good enough. It's not enough confirmation, and you're most likely going to hold drawdown because it's not solidified that the trade makes sense to take. And this applies for price action trading because that is what I do, right? So apart from that, the second step you need to have is have a setup arsenal, right? So have setups that you commonly take. And you can see here we have setup 1, 2, 3, and you can see that they come often. Setup 1, setup 1, setup 2, setup 3. Having multiple setups that are just random is going to make it a high chance for you to end up in drawdown because there's too much variance in your trading. You have to keep your trading confined and keep the variables the same. If you also do want to know about what setups I use, I do have videos on that as well. So all of the stuff I'm talking about in this video does have videos made, or you can join the live streams, watch about it there. But if you don't have a plan that has a specific setup, then you're not going to know what is the accuracy and how that setup plays out. So these setups that I take are designed to be traded in a certain way, using session bias, using special zones, and using special confirmation in order to allow me to be in a position that puts me into profitability quickly without needing a drawdown. And one of the biggest factors of not holding drawdown, and it's going to be the next step I want to talk about, is waiting for a top or bottom wick. So let's say we're taking a trade here and we're looking for price, closed above a zone here. So let's say price closed above a zone, and then we're looking for the next candle to continue bullish here. If the next candle continues bullish, one thing that really helps is waiting first for a bottom wick to form. Once the candle forms that and flips and breaks the high, this should allow you not to hold a high amount of drawdown, right? Because once the bottom wick is made, this is kind of retesting and telling you, okay, price has gone to the downside, rejected, now it's ready to go up. And it shouldn't really need to come down and re-break its own bottom wick. So if you've already had that bottom wick formed, you don't have to worry about price going down in the future because it's already done it. Think of it like a spring. It's coiling the spring up and then it releases it. The spring shouldn't need to come back down. That's only time where sometimes you might have to hold drawdown. But just the simplicity of waiting for a bottom wick will really help reduce drawdown in a trade. And it's something I look for when I take a trade, is I want price to make a small bottom wick at least before I take an entry. And that's a rule I like to follow, because if you enter price at any time during that candle, it could end up making a bottom wick and you don't know where that wick will land. That wick could end up stopping you out. It could put you in drawdown for a while, or it could just simply fail. But once that wick is made, you'll notice that the probabilities of the price playing out is a lot higher and you won't have to hold drawdown, which is exactly what we want. So to minimize drawdown, wait for those bottom wicks. The bigger the wick, the better it's going to be, right? So if you have a longer wick, it's going to be better because then you can worry about less drawdown, right? So that is something that is super important to wait for, but make sure that you don't overuse this and keep waiting for a bigger and bigger wick and then it flips and go and you miss the trade. That is the complete opposite objective, and that's not something you want to be involved in, is missing the trade because you wanted a bigger wick than that was formed, right? So the next thing, and actually one of the last things, because holding limited drawdown is simple, we don't need to make it too complicated, is where you're trading on the chart, right? It's actually the last two things here. So where you're trading on the chart is very, very, very important. Okay, the reason why it's very, very important is because, of course, you want to be trading in zones that we can expect efficient moves. So if you're trading in random choppy zones like this, don't expect to have a clean move. If you want to have a clean move, you better have in the past an LTA, which is something we cover a lot, right? So you can expect the clean move down, right? So LTA is clean candles, because look, notice this, whenever there's clean candles to the left, clean move to the upside. Clean candles to the left, clean move to the upside. Whenever it gets choppy here like this, right? Whenever it's choppy on the way down, right? There was not a clean move down. You can see that, and that's why we want to be trading in zones that have high volume. And how do we know that it has high volume? Is because it's going to be where the clean candles lay. Apart from that, that actually reminded me about something super important, is taking trades during volume times. You have to trade 1 hour pre-session to 1.5 hour post-session. That window is the best window to take trades. If you're taking trades just before, New York close or in the evening or whenever you please, high chance you're going to hold drawdown because there's no volume in the markets. The push has already happened. This push has happened, you're going to get stuck in stuff like this. A push has happened, you're going to get stuck in stuff like this. And that's not what you want to do. You want to be in these efficient moves, and these efficient moves come during volume times. If I bring up the session indicator to show me what session, you can see New York open, boom. London open, boom. High volume moves. Between, a little bit choppy, and then Asian, super choppy, right? That's not what we want to be in. London, boom, clean moves down. And that's exactly what we want to be involved in. So basically using volume times is going to drastically help you avoiding drawdown, right? And apart from that, it is making sure that you're not FOMOing in the tops of moves, because the likelihood, right, and this is the last point that I'm going to cover, the likelihood of this pulling back right here is very, very high because of the push we've already had. This can pull back all the way to here before seeing a support, and your idea can still be correct to continue bullish. So the higher we push without a pullback, the more chance you have your next trade to go and draw down. Why? Because it can pull back before continuing. So whenever you see a big push, it wouldn't be a bad idea to wait for something, or just expect to hold more drawdown. And if you're fine doing that, then the trade should still play out, because you don't want to miss moves like this. But expect that it's okay if it comes back down and then ends up going, because we've already had a push. But if it doesn't, then you're going to catch the move. So it's kind of like a 50-50, but the main thing is the trade idea makes sense, taking buys above this resistance to fill this area here. And that's the key point. So sometimes in the market, you will have to hold drawdown. It's part of the game. Get used to it. If you're not going to get used to it, you won't really get used to it, but just accept it and make sure you have a plan that you can trust, because whenever you're in drawdown, you can just sit there and say, I trust my plan. As long as the trade still makes sense, I'm happy to hold it. So I hope that these quick few tips has really helped to understand how you can avoid drawdown, and how I avoid drawdown personally myself, to make sure I have the most accurate entries as possible in order to get the efficient move. So start implementing these tips and watch how it starts to impact your trading. If you did enjoy that, leave a subscribe, leave a like, leave all of that business. And yeah, I really would appreciate that. And let me know in the comments if you did enjoy this video. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Nice, clean and simple. With that being said, take care, trade sharp, and hopefully catch you guys very, very soon. Peace.